What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Wednesday, March 26th, 2025, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now it is 12:28 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from the Middle East and from here in the US. So in case you missed my live stream late last night, we have confirmation that the U.S. has moved as many as 7 or possibly 8 B-2 stealth bombers to Diego Garcia, which is a British territory in the Indian Ocean that the U.S. uses as a military base. And Diego Garcia was heavily used in the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. So 7 to 8 B-2 stealth bombers moved to Diego Garcia. Guys, that is like almost 40% of all of our B-2 stealth bombers, okay? The U.S. has just over 20 stealth bombers. So 8 divided by 20, you can do the math. That's right around 40% of all of our B-2s going to Diego Garcia. So that is clearly a sign that the U.S. is getting ready to strike Iran. You don't need 7 or 8 stealth bombers to strike the Houthis. Okay, these stealth bombers are going to be used to penetrate heavily guarded airspace with air defenses, to take out the Iranian nuclear sites and underground missile storage complexes. So get prepared, guys. Things are continuing to escalate. And this afternoon, we have U.S. nuclear forces on high alert again. We have a U.S. presidential doomsday plane that was flying with its tracker turned off. Earlier this morning, it got aerially refueled over northern Missouri and Iowa, and it is now heading east towards Ohio. We also have a nuclear war command and control plane flying over Idaho right now. And the presidential doomsday plane is for the president. It's known as the E-4B Night Watch. And that's the plane that the president uses to control the entire U.S. military during a nuclear war. He would be scrambled up into the air on one of these planes, and these planes are EMP resistant. And he can command our entire military and the nuclear forces from the air. And then the nuclear war command and control planes are to communicate with our nuclear armed submarines and also to function as a backup launch system for our land-based missiles. Okay, they can launch our land-based ICBMs from the air with those E-6 Mercuries, okay? Now, in addition to that, we had a B-52 nuclear bomber fly from Barksdale Air Force Base to Key West, which is very, very unusual. And I don't know if they're going to be doing some kind of a deterrence patrol around Cuba, but it landed at Key West International Airport. This is extremely unusual. And then we also have a lot of sub-hunter activity off the coast of northern Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. Check this out. We got 2 P-8 Poseidon sub-hunters patrolling this area here off the coast of Georgia, South Carolina, and northern Florida. This is extremely unusual, guys. And then we also have another sub-hunter off the coast of Tampa in the Gulf of America. So something is brewing over here off the coast of Florida. Maybe there's a Russian sub over here. But this B-52 going to Key West is extremely bizarre. And here's the presidential doomsday plane that got aerially refueled over Iowa and Missouri, and it turned its tracker off shortly after refueling, and now it has its tracker back on. And we just had a bunch of U.S. reconnaissance planes flying near Crimea in the Black Sea and keeping an eye on the Black Sea. I wonder if this is related to the recent agreement that Russia and the U.S. made about the Black Sea Grain Initiative, where Russia is going to halt any attacks on grain shipments coming out of Ukraine, and any attacks in the Black Sea are going to be halted. And this could be the U.S. keeping an eye on Russia to make sure that Russia is not doing anything here sneaky, or potentially, more than likely, this actually looks like a targeting pattern. This looks like something the U.S. military does when they're trying to pick up targets. Okay, this was an RC-135 rivet joint, which has side-looking radars, and it was flying parallel to the southern shore and western shore of Crimea, which is where Russia has their Black Sea fleet. So this could have been picking up targeting information for the Ukrainians so they can strike Crimea possibly tonight. Now, in addition to that, we also have a sub-hunter flying in Romania right now, doing this very unusual pattern here, flying over the Carpathian Mountains. And then also we have an E-3 Sentry that was flying parallel to the Moldova border. So something is going on over here in the Black Sea. Something is brewing. And this update was sponsored by EMP Shield. Guys, EMP Shield has created a special discount just for you, the listeners of the NYPrepper channel. If you go to empshield.com and use the promo code NYPrepper, you can get 15% off your entire order. And why do you need an EMP Shield? Well, this is a special device to protect your vehicle, your RV, your solar generators, your radios from an electromagnetic pulse, which could be caused by a solar flare or potentially a rogue country like North Korea detonating an electromagnetic pulse weapon over the United States that's mounted onto a satellite. So protect your vehicles, protect your RV, protect your radios, protect your generators with an EMP Shield. Use my promo code NYPrepper to get 15% off. Installation is super simple. This is a veteran-owned business, 100% American-made, and the EMP Shields have been tested by the military, okay? And free shipping is included to the entire continental United States. And the link and the promo code are in the description below this video. And we have some major breaking news coming out of France, and I was the first one to cover this. The French Air Force ran a large nuclear attack exercise yesterday morning, during which pilots simulated low-altitude penetration over enemy territory, followed by delivering nuclear weapons. 3 fighter squadrons and many French tankers were airborne at the same time. This was known as Operation Poker. Okay, so here is a picture showing this exercise, and we were tracking this live 2 nights ago. Okay, all these French aerial refuelers took off from central and southern France, and they went out to the Atlantic here. And I knew something was up because you never see that, and sure enough, I was right. Turns out France was doing a massive nuclear strike drill, okay, with their fighter bombers. Okay, France has the ASMP hypersonic cruise missile, which flies at a speed of Mach 3. It's a true hypersonic missile. It has a ramjet, and it has a range of 600 miles, and it can carry the TN-81 thermonuclear warhead, which has a yield of up to 300 kilotons. Okay, so this is very, very serious, and in recent days and weeks, France has really been ratcheting up the talk of war with Russia. Emmanuel Macron talked about extending the French nuclear umbrella to Europe and possibly sharing France's nuclear weapons with countries like Poland or Finland. And just a couple days ago, France announced that they're going to be giving out nuclear war and World War III survival manuals to everybody in France by this summer. And Emmanuel Macron spoke to some pilots at a base on the border of Germany, where he said that he was going to rearm that base with nuclear weapons and 2 permanent fighter bomber squadrons to deliver those nuclear weapons. France hasn't had that base loaded with nuclear weapons since the Cold War, okay? So something is brewing, guys. Also, Emmanuel Macron said like 2 weeks ago that he's looking into plans for mobilizing French society. And now, after all of that, they do this nuclear strike drill. So, guys, this is pretty obvious to me. Something is going down in Europe very, very soon. I think there's going to be some kind of a massive escalation. And then we also have Iran with all of those B-2s going to Diego Garcia. Very, very unusual. And here you can see all those French aerial refuelers, okay, when they were doing this nuclear strike exercise. You can see them doing these looping patterns here, which is what they do when they do refueling. And then this was sent to me by a friend of mine near Offutt Air Base, home of U.S. Strategic Command. This was yesterday. A B-1 strategic bomber was flying over Offutt Air Base, U.S. Strategic Command headquarters. This is extremely unusual to have one of these flying over Offutt because their home base is now up in North Dakota in Grand Forks. Okay, so this is very, very strange, and it means that our military is on very, very high alert. And the U.S. president has announced that a deal concerning rare earth minerals with Ukraine is nearly finalized, with signatures expected soon. Discussions have extended to include territorial issues, though specifics remain undisclosed. This agreement follows prior talks on similar topics between the U.S. and Ukraine. Okay, so some kind of a deal is almost finalized between Ukraine and the U.S. on rare earth minerals, and the Ukrainian presidential officials are saying that no preconditions were discussed for the Black Sea truce, despite statements from Russia. And Houthi media said that last night there was another round of U.S. strikes on Yemen. I'm hearing as many as 24 strikes were carried out by U.S. forces, according to Houthi media. Interestingly, the British are no longer helping the U.S. in these strikes. And Russia will need clear guarantees when resuming the Black Sea Grain Initiative. They can only be the result of an order from Washington to Zelensky, Lavrov said. Lavrov noted that Russia cannot take Kiev at its word. So Russia's demanding that the U.S. basically force Zelensky or tell Zelensky to stand down. And according to U.S. intelligence, Russia's inability to achieve quick battlefield wins in Ukraine is fueling concerns that Putin could resort to nuclear weapons. This was reported by Bloomberg. And the chief of Iran's armed forces said yesterday all the components needed to build a capability dozens of times greater than True Promise 2, which was the previous missile attack on Israel, have been established. The Iron Fist is far stronger than before. Okay, so Iran is still preparing to strike Israel again, and Iran is feeling very insecure. And I do believe that they tested a nuclear weapon last week, and that was swept under the rug by the mainstream media. But there was this 5.0 magnitude earthquake literally just 20 miles away from the Natanz nuclear facility. Okay, and we looked at the seismograph on the live stream, and it was basically identical to the 2017 North Korean nuclear test. Okay, because natural earthquakes, you don't have like a sudden spike on the seismograph. Okay, you have like a crescendo where it gradually increases and then gradually decreases with aftershocks, but there's no aftershocks in this seismograph, which indicates that this was some kind of a nuclear test. Okay, so Iran is preparing to launch another strike on Israel, and China revealed that it has developed a compact deep-sea cable-cutting device that is powerful enough to sever communication lines, the South China Morning Post reported. It is reported that the tool is able to operate at a depth of up to 4,000 meters and has been designed for use with China's advanced manned or unmanned submersible vehicles. developed by the China Ship Science Research Center and its affiliated State Key Laboratory of Deep Sea Manned Vehicles. The device targets armored cables layered with steel, rubber, and polymer sheaths that underpin 95% of global data transmission, according to the publication. Wow. Okay, that is very, very concerning. And we know that China already cut one cable connecting Taiwan to Japan. And the French defense company Dassault Aviation plans to accelerate the production of Rafale fighter jets capable of carrying nuclear weapons. In 2020, we were delivering fewer than one Rafale per month. Today, we're delivering more than 2 Rafales a month, and we intend to ramp up further. Next year, we plan to produce 3 Rafales per month, and by 2028 to 2029, 4, said Dassault Aviation CEO Eric Trappier. Okay, so that is huge, guys. Okay, they want to double the production of their Rafale fighter jets, which is what they use to deliver those ASMP hypersonic cruise missiles, which France is actually in the process of upgrading those missiles so they can reach as far as 2,000 miles or more, okay? And France also has submarine-launched ballistic missiles, the M51, which is an ICBM, and each one of their M51s can carry 6 to 10 TN-75 nuclear warheads that have a yield of up to 200 kilotons. So a lot of firepower, and each one of their 4 subs can carry 16 of those M51s. And Denmark has brought forward the introduction of compulsory military conscription for women, moving it from 2027 to 2026, according to Bloomberg. So they were originally going to force women to join the military in 2027. They have now accelerated that to next year, basically. Okay, that is very, very serious, guys. By next year, Denmark is going to be drafting women into their military. Okay, that is how crazy the situation is in Europe and how much of a panic the Europeans are in right now. And the U.S. Secretary of Defense arrived in Hawaii on Monday for intelligence briefings and meetings with senior military officials at the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command, with a heavy emphasis on the threat posed by China. The U.S. Defense Secretary arrived on board a doomsday plane for his first visit to the region. He is scheduled to visit the Philippines and Japan later this week. Reestablishing the warrior ethos, rebuilding our military, and ultimately reestablishing deterrence is critically important. And so we're out here to talk to our commanders and, more importantly, meet with the troops all across the Indo-Pacific and then our allies and partners. So very, very interesting. And here we have some footage coming out of Crimea showing a massive amount of North Korean artillery pieces and equipment. Okay, this is in Crimea, guys. North Korea is now sending long-range artillery to Russia, and they're deploying it in Crimea now. Okay, so North Korea is accelerating their shipments of weapons to Russia, even though Russia is talking about peace. And here we have some new footage coming out of Iran showing one of Iran's underground missile cities. And I went over this in depth in one of the live streams recently. But here you can actually see cruise missiles that are concealed inside of box trucks. Okay, and so they can basically erect these launchers out of the box truck and launch these cruise missiles. And based on their size, they're short-range cruise missiles. My guess is probably just 200 miles. So they could use these to potentially hit U.S. warships in the Persian Gulf, or maybe target Saudi Arabia and hit the oil fields. And then here you have some ballistic missiles. These look like short-range ballistic missiles, possibly medium range. But this is extremely concerning, guys. And Russia and the U.S. have agreed on a list of Russian and Ukrainian facilities subject to a temporary moratorium on attacks, and they include oil refineries, oil gas pipelines, and storage facilities, including pumping stations, infrastructure that generates and transmits electricity, including power plants, substations, transformers, and switchboards, nuclear power plants, and hydropower dams. Okay, so we'll see if this moratorium lasts. I don't think it will. And we have some very unusual and concerning breaking news coming out of Lithuania. 4 American soldiers were killed for unknown reasons in Lithuania near the border of Belarus, okay? And they went missing with a tracked transport vehicle yesterday during military exercises near the Belarus border. Today they were found dead. The circumstances and cause of their deaths are currently under investigation. They went missing during an exercise at the General Silvestris Zukauskis training ground in Pabrati, and this is literally like a mile from the Belarus border, guys, okay? So it seems a little bit fishy to me, and the U.S. military specifies that the missing soldiers are from the 3rd Infantry Division, 1st Brigade, who were conducting planned tactical training at the time of the incident. And according to Ukraine's military intelligence, Russia aims to end the war by 2026. Okay, so that's by next year. The Kremlin has developed 15 scenarios of military conflicts until 2045, including 6 concerning Northern Europe and 4 concerning Poland. Okay, so that's what Ukraine's military intelligence is saying. They want the war to be done with by next year, and that Russia has basically already planned for 6 war scenarios against Northern Europe and 4 against Poland. So guys, if this is true, if Ukraine's intelligence is right, which they usually are, they predicted the invasion, okay, and I reported on that like 3 months before the Russian tanks rolled in, and everybody said, you can't listen to Ukraine's intelligence, they're full of crap. Well, sure enough, they were right about that. So they have a good track record, and they're saying Russia wants to end the war, and the main reason Russia would want to do this and why Putin would want to do this is because he wants to shift gears and focus on the Baltics, okay? He wants to maybe sign this peace deal, freeze the front lines, so that would free up all those forces that he has deployed right now to hold the territory that he conquered, and he can move those forces into Belarus and on the border of Poland and Lithuania, and he can potentially try to make a land bridge to Kaliningrad, okay, and potentially then attack the Baltics and then even possibly attack Poland. I think it's coming. I think it's coming this year, guys, so get prepared. And Poland will start guarding the skies over the Baltic countries. Polish F-16s from the 32nd Tactical Air Base in Poland will guard the sky over Estonia, Lithuania, and Latvia starting April 1st. And a massive cyber attack just hit Lukoil, which is Russia's largest oil company. Apparently, payment systems have been hit, so there's no way for people to pay their bills or for any purchases to be done with cards, okay? So that is very, very serious. And the Philippines military welcomed the report of a second deployment of the U.S. Typhoon missile system to the Philippines. The Typhoon system can fire Tomahawk cruise missiles and SM-6 missiles. So the Tomahawks, in case you guys don't know, those are long-range cruise missiles. They have a range of 1,000 miles, and they have an error of probability of up to 20 feet. So basically, you could launch one of these missiles from New York City and hit your vacation home in Orlando. That's how accurate they are, and completely undetected while traveling to your vacation home in Florida, in case you wanted to blow up your own vacation home for some reason. And the SM-6 missiles are interceptor missiles that can intercept ballistic missiles. Okay, so this is huge news. Okay, we're deploying another Typhon system to the Philippines with massive strike capabilities and defensive capabilities. And what you're looking at here is the official screenshots of the U.S. National Security Advisor's signal group where all the information was leaked out on. And I'm not going to really spend too much time on this, but it does appear now that this is 100% legit. This really did happen. Okay, the U.S. National Security Advisor, the Defense Secretary, the Secretary of State, were all in this signal group, and they were talking about military operations against the Houthis. This is absolutely insane. We are living in some crazy times right now, guys. And here's some more screenshots where the defense secretary's talking about how they're launching the first strike package. This was at 12:15 Eastern time on the Saturday that they launched the initial strikes on the Houthis. Okay, he wrote F-18s launch first strike package. And finally, we have this picture here showing how Chinese military activity around Taiwan has ramped up over the last 2 years. You can see in 2022, all these orange and red lines were not too frequent in the Taiwan Strait, and then 2023 there were a lot more, and then look at last year. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this one, guys. I will be back later on tonight with more breaking news. Either I'll do a live stream or I'll post another video update. Make sure you download my app. It's 100% free. It's in the Google Play Store, and the link is in the description below this video. It lets me send out notifications to you if something's going on, if there's major breaking news. And when I post these updates, when I go live, I send out a notification as well. So this way you'll never miss an update and you'll never miss a stream. And I do believe that the U.S. is going to strike Iran within the next month or two. Okay, that's why they moved all those stealth bombers. You don't move 40% of your stealth bombers somewhere for no reason. Okay, so get prepared, guys. All hell is about to break loose. And then, of course, we have Europe on the verge of war with Russia. All right. And until the next time, take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere. Culinary out. And this update was sponsored by NYPrepper Supply. Guys, NYPrepper Supply is doing a massive sale on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the deal, you got to go to preparewithnyprepper.com, and the link is in the description below this video. They're selling their 3-month emergency food supply for just $600, so that's $100 off the normal price. And this is 3 months of food at 2,000 calories per day, has a shelf life of up to 25 years, and all of this is packed into 6 rugged water-resistant buckets, and free shipping is included. And they're also offering a disaster replacement warranty. So if your food supply gets destroyed by a natural disaster, they'll replace it for you with no charge. And they also will provide you with free survival books and information, including a natural disaster field guide, a survival Bible digital copy. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get $100 off the NYPrepper Supply 3-month emergency food supply. And the link is in the description below this video.